Today we're opening the doors to new scientific discoveries about how your universe works. But you don't know who's right. Albert Einstein with his crazy gray hair. You know, he's telling you that there's nothing faster than the motherfucking speed of light or some shit. Albert Einstein's responsible for most of our assumptions about space and time and relativity and squirrels and how we get to the moon. And, well, is he responsible for all those things? Well, you know, actually, there's evidence that he's not. There's evidence that we have been giving him a little bit too much credit, well, at least in North America. Then there's actor Terrance Howard, who I stumbled upon on YouTube. He was making some sort of Skype call or recorded some sort of Skype call while talking about the same shit we have been talking about for the past year or two. All of this esoteric stuff about space and how it connects to our spirituality, or how about the physicists from across the fucking world who have since 2014, from what I gather, they've been calling into question the theories of quantum mechanics and physics that you learned as a kid. Your universe is not only primarily composed of atoms and neutrons and electrons and gluons and pions and weak forces and strong forces and quarks. Those are just the ones that I know. There's like a million of them. Different particles. Particle theory, atom theory, materialism, dualism. It's a bunch of shit that to me does not make any sense because it doesn't reflect what the image I see in my head. When I do some meditation or some divination, I'm going to share some of that with you today. Nikola Tesla, who apparently, you know, he's been right the entire time. So even though he and Einstein were peers, he was a little bit more brown. I think that's why he was ultimately deemed the successor to the throne of, you know, all of the things, knowledge, but was not readily recognized, at least over here. My coworker, she's from that part of the world, and she learned about him as a kid. I don't know. But right now, you are in a good place. You know, you're in a place that's good for you. Good. So good. You're thriving. Your world is constructed in a way that maximizes your comfort. There's nothing wrong with that. Focus on your universe. Your home, your finances, your job. Focus on that universe has allowed you to accomplish major motherfucking goals. Woo woo. Like woo woo. Also, you are in a position to set new goals to continue your success. So congratulations. Don't forget, social constructions have their limits. You are the creator. You possess all of the potential energy necessary for your own survival. You have chosen to see your past, despite shortcomings, as inspiration for future decisions. Past mistakes do have a lasting effect on future outcomes, but it is better to recognize the freedom you gain from charting your own course. You grew as a man by observing instead of reacting. When mental clarity and balance are the result, was it really a mistake? I ponder that. Hindsight is 20/20, but you can be confident in the future too. So, what do you expect in the future? Well, I'm telling you today to expect love and love affairs. Expect more freedom and control. Expect protest and pushing. You have the discretion to engage or flee. Either will suffice, but it will always be better to walk away. The horizon is serene. Go there, it's fertile. I am your host, Devon, and you are listening to another episode of Center of the Sun podcast. Thank you for listening. That was a little bit of a different kind of intro because, you missed me, and the reason why you missed me last week is because I have been just pondering so many new things, and it's hard to half-ass this show because it's so much, and it's so much responsibility to come to you every week and share with you all of these very intense topics that I just never knew would be so intense. And I'm taking the time today to miss, I'm trying to be a hoe today. It's not going to happen, but we can only try. And I'm trying to be a hoe, and my hoe time is scheduled between 3 and 3:30, and it is right now is 3:07. And I'm going to tell you right now that I'm going to delay my hoe time until the end of this program in order to maximize your comfort. And there's nothing wrong with that. So thank you for listening. Today we're talking about, Albert Einstein. We're talking about, I don't know why, but Terrance Howard. I haven't talked about him ever. I don't really watch him on TV. But for some reason he's wading into physics today. I don't know. So this is part 1 of why the fuck is Terrance Howard wading into physics. I don't even really remember his personality. I mean, he's a handsome man. He's like a light skinned with light eyes, but he always plays these very interesting and just annoying characters. And his voice is just like a very interesting voice. And I always preferred to watch, what's her face? The woman. I can't remember her name, but she's always his co-star. Or they always co-star together. Anyway. I haven't watched him on TV for a while. I think he was on Empire or something like that. I don't know if it's still on air, but I hope Jesse Smollett is okay. Just wish him well. It's probably, I'm just like the damn entertainment industry. That's why I'm like, I'm glad to have a normal fucking life. But anyway, the entertainment industry is very interesting. So I have tried to move away from watching shows like Empire and watching channels like Fox. I just don't have other than Family Guy or something funny, I don't really see the point of watching it. But obviously, his personality is way different than the people he plays on TV because he is like just as much as a nerd as you. I'm like, you're a fucking nerd. That's why you listen to the show. And apparently Terrance Howard is being cited as a source on today's blog at devon.org. You can visit devon.org to sign up. I recently updated my site. You can visit there. It's spelled DVAUGHN.org. And you can sign up for free to receive updates and special exclusive cited sources that kind of dive deeper into our topics, and also the transcript of today's episode. If you ever want to read it instead of hear it, I will post it there with pictures and quotes and things. So please visit devon.org. Also, if you'd like to support the blog or support the show or support me in general, you can make a monthly gift of $25 or a annual gift of $200, and it would be greatly appreciated. And it would go to support the show and the blog. But I already have a full-time job, so it's not necessary. So all you got to do is sign up and just receive the freaking emails. Because I'm out here, I like my job. So I'm like, I'm in public health, and I like being able to solve public health crises like HIV. So curing HIV, like who doesn't want to do that? Like who would rather be an influencer? Like fuck that shit. Like who the fuck cares about Instagram? Who the fuck cares about Facebook? Like I don't give a fuck about none of this shit. You know what I care about? helping somebody else and maybe not being reincarnated as a fucking ant in the next goddamn life. So that's why we're wading into physics with Terrance Howard today on the Center of the Sun podcast, because it's been the last year has been kind of weird in terms of I subscribe to YouTube, as I always talk about that. Like, I don't think anybody ever subscribed to YouTube but me, and was very proud. But that's my streaming service that I use, and I use it just because it has like the weirdest shit on there that you can't find anywhere else. It's just people talking to a goddamn cell phone mainly. And but it's cool shit because that's how information is shared. It is like the ultimate motherfucking social network where nobody's actually talking to each other, but it's an oral tradition. Like, it is so cool. It's the only oral social network where you barely write words. Like, you have to hook people with their, oh shit, I have dusty computer. You have to hook people with the headline, and you have to make the description relevant, but the majority of it is visual and auditory. And so it's my favorite social network, that and Twitter, because Twitter is just words, and you don't have to do much. But I'm going to start a YouTube channel in 2020. I think I want to do it. I want to do something visual, and I have a room in my house I could do it in, and I think it would be good. We would take Center of the Sun visual, make it more interesting, and more accessible outside of the podcast space. We're gonna solar wind the fuck out of it. But today's episode is about solar winds because Terrance Howard, he got me thinking. He was talking about physics on YouTube, and I'm like, why the fuck is Terrance Howard talking about physics on YouTube? He is like an actor on TV. He beats women in movies. Like, he is like always cursing and like has like a really weird voice, but he is like handsome, so I can't look away. But also, I don't give a fuck because I don't watch TV on purpose because I know it's weird. So as a result, I subscribe to YouTube, and I've been watching people talk about aliens, and it's a bunch of weird shit. And sometimes I get scared. Actually, I did get scared. Specifically, there is a show or a channel called Modern Spirituality, and it was one of the more interesting ones because, and it's hard to even describe because it's like now it's off the air. It's just weird. And they were just like too into aliens. Like, they wanted to be an alien too bad. And I was like, this is weird. Like, girl, like, I believe that people can channel other kind of beings because I've seen people catch the Holy Ghost. Like, if it can be Jesus Christ, I actually probably believe it's not Jesus Christ. It's probably another being that's like manipulating you. So you should probably know what the fuck is going on. But like, you see these people have religious experiences. So to a certain degree, either humans can put themselves in a trance to an extent that they hallucinate and truly believe and can share and duplicate the experience of that being. But a hallucination that is like can be reproduced at will. Or it is true possession. And either way, they're both valuable and powerful, because if the human mind can manifest things or manifest images in the mind that are so potent that we believe them, then that is that's something that's very important, but maybe for another conversation. But the conversation I wanted to have today was about the people that believe that it is really somebody from Orion's belt being like, hey girl, what's like, here's the thing. And it's giving me chills. And that's the thing. Like, that's the Kundalini or whatever the fuck we've been talking about. That's the bioelectricity in our body, our emotions in our body react to our thoughts. And maybe the thoughts or signals from other beings. And it's just like, I don't know. But I've always had chills my whole life. And it's like, So there's the anecdotal evidence, and then there's the fact that I'm saying it out loud and I feel crazy. And it's the fact that other people also have similar experiences. And I thank God I don't channel aliens, but I believe the people that do to an extent. And so basically, let me back up. Channel called Modern Spirituality. They scared me a little bit. I'm just gonna say that out loud. They scare me a little bit, not because like, ooh, Google, like, boo, like, ooh, Casper the Ghost. No, like, they made it seem very real. And I was not ready. And then the other day I was ready and they did not exist anymore. And I'm just like, I want to cry. I'm like, why is everything so weird? So I stopped. This is why I have a show, because nobody will talk about it. And it makes me like, I have a lot of emotions and it makes me want to talk about it, and nobody has the words. And it's not anyone's fault. It's just like, literally, we don't have a frame of reference, and all I have are these fucking journals. So I'm pulling journals from the university that I work at, and I watch these YouTube videos of people, you know, having these experiences, all these different kinds of spiritual experiences. But today we're talking about extraterrestrial beings, potentially, you know, like aliens, benevolent, you know, whatever, good, bad, indifferent. It's probably Seven Bomar, secretenergy.com. You know, he's actually, and then there's the fucking shamans that been doing this, and I'm just like, and they've been telling us like, get your shit together, like it's real. And oh my God. But basically shamans and different people. So one shaman in particular, and I don't believe he regards himself as a shaman, but I regard him as a shaman because he speaks and does the same things as any other shaman would do. He just does it in a modernized way, but he still does the trances and like does the teaching and all that shit. And, can lead people or whatever it is. Like, that's his gift, is to go into a trance, and that's what he teaches about. But he specifically talks about interacting with beings, be it supernatural or extraterrestrial, you know, like just aliens, like other beings, or like, are there like God-like beings? You know, like he talks about different levels of beings. But basically he says that we needed, so in a previous episode of his on YouTube, he explained that we need to be careful about our words. And he wrote a book called The Code to the Matrix, in which he basically decodes or provides a framework through which, or uncovers the framework through which our reality is constructed with words in harmonics. And we're going to talk about what the definition of harmonics is in a moment. But basically everything can be boiled down to a sound. And because everything can be boiled down to a sound, it can be manipulated, and humans have been manipulating sounds and things and manipulating us for a while to enact some sort of cosmic play or something. I don't really get the details of it, but I know that our words matter. And just for the simple fact that they bleep them on TV, you know, they bleep your curse words on TV. Like, why is this so important? You know, like, why words do matter to a degree. And Seven Bomar, he asserts that they matter so much that they actually are the foundation of how this bitch is set up. And we best be mindful, because some humans, certain humans know what is going on, and certain humans are just living their life, just trying to eat, you know. And you know, it is what it is. So we're gonna move along. Seven Bomar, he suggests that instead of calling these beings demons or devils, you know, we actually provide nuance with our words, you know. And instead of just, you know, blanket calling all of them bad, we call the ones that have bad behavior, we call them opportunists. So we're going to do that on here. We're not going to call demons because apparently that's the N word of the spiritual realm. We don't want to piss nobody off. If you're a bad demon, then you're an opportunist. not a demon, because that's the N word of the spiritual realm. I heard that on YouTube. So, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like being, anybody's language. I can respect that. So if you're an extraterrestrial being, please don't take the opportunity to fuck with me. Thanks, girl. So we're going to move along. And what was I talking about? Hold on. Let me get my Word document. So we got a Word document up. We got the Oxford Dictionary of Physics up. We have we have a journal, the Journal of Physics. Okay, let me get my Word document up. Sorry. Let's go. So, modern spirituality, they were scaring me about aliens. Then Seven Bomar said, you know what? They're not all bad. Just like white folks, you got to get some nuance in there, and you got to call somebody an opportunist instead of a demon. You know how people call white people white devils? Kind of the same idea. You kind of don't want to just do that. You kind of might want to go talk to somebody to their face and create a narrative based on your own personal anecdotal evidence. And no alien has ever hurt me or attempted to do so. So therefore, I'm not going to insult them right now. And I learned all of this on YouTube. It's weird. People talk to extraterrestrial beings and they're like, you know what? We're cool, but like, don't fucking call us weird shit, because that shit hurts, like literally. But there were a few topics that have come to pass that I did not believe would come to pass. And in respects to global warming, in respects to the politics of the United States, there are a bunch of things that were just mentioned casually. And, basically, we were told about a year ago through channeled messages through people on YouTube that I didn't believe at the time, that we should stop being so fucking hysterical and relax. And that being a human is like super lit. And this is not verbatim. Like, this is just my interpretation of what they said. And like weird different ones, like not even ones that even seemed real. And like the ones that were like anonymous, like weird shit. Like I cannot tell you even where I watched it, because it does not exist. It's so fucking weird. It's weird, but I have to share it, and it's giving me chills and shit. So I know it's, it's valid in some way. So anyway, I'm excited. I know there was a particular one, and you can find, if you just go to YouTube and you just search for like channeled alien messages or something, like you'll find ones where like it's just like an automated voice, like a robot voice with like a picture on it. And one time I did watch a few of those, but it was just kind of weird, just like, oh, this is weird. But but the messages resonate. That's what's weird. It's so weird. Oh, it resonates. It resonates. It resonates. And that's all I can say, is that I have emotions, and literally, I comb through my browser history. To find the sites and the content that I used to watch are removed. Like, I am like flabbergasted. Like, what the fuck is going on, bro? And it was all for an unspecified reason. It was just like, come back soon, girl. Like, we're just under construction, honey. Like, we're going to be back in 2020. No, it didn't even have a date or anything. And so there is a caveat to some of the things like this modern spirituality and stuff like that. Those people were a couple. So I'm thinking like drama was probably likely. So let's just start there with that caveat. It's probably drama, but like, why would you delete your whole business? Or why would you delete your whole YouTube channel or make it all private? Like, what? It's just talking about the start. It's just like astrology. It started off as astrology. I've been trying to figure out astrology, and some people believe that they're from certain stars. So then they try to like channel those beings, and that's what that channel was about. It wasn't about anything. And all they were doing was making like tarot cards for like the star beings. I don't know. But it gave me bad vibes back then. It just was weird. But I've evolved on the matter since. Which is par for the course. That's just how I roll. It's fine. You're allowed to change your mind. And I went back and it was gone. And it wasn't even a year. It was like in June where I was like, unsubscribe. I was like, I'm scared. Like literally, I was like, I have the feeling now. And I feel bad that I unsubscribed because I'm like, what happened? I should have bought their fucking cards. But they had a site, they had a social network and everything. It was, I shared. Yeah, I don't know. I felt like I was a Lyran. I don't know. But there was, there's this so there's also this other lingering thing that scared me. And it's this issue of some solar event that's predicted in 2020. And you can see this. This is on the Weather Channel and like NASA, whatever it is. Like there's a solar event that no one can really predict or like really for sure talk about. And no one seems to understand what is coming and whether or not a solar event in 2020 will impact our lives. And I believe like late 2020, like maybe December. Some people, like the people on modern spirituality and secret energy and some other shamans and people that I follow on YouTube, they say it's purely spiritual. Some people say it's purely spiritual, not those people I just named, but some people say it's purely spiritual. Other shamans say, the people I just named, they say that you actually must be physically fit in order to not suffer the negative effects of the solar wind. So there is like a dimensional shift or something. I don't know. I am just here. I don't want to be radiated by the sun, but apparently, if you work out and have a good diet and like do keto, like it's going to be good. So apparently you're supposed to get well, or you're just supposed to get your heart together, like your thoughts and your mind and your emotions together. I don't know. But a solar wind or a solar event must likely be caused by solar winds or bursts of material ejected from the sun toward the earth. So that happens on a regular basis. There's always shit coming towards us. In the Journal of Geophysical Research, Space Physics, they published an article last year describing new ways that scientists are beginning to measure a region right outside the Earth's atmosphere called the magnetosphere. So this is what I found Terrance Howard talking about on YouTube the other day. I'm still confused why the fuck he was talking about that. I still don't know why the hell I stumbled upon it. I'm still a little confused as to why it was even served to me by YouTube. But moving forward, it doesn't matter. There are a few terms that I needed to define. So I started reading this journal. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't know what the fuck I'm reading. Why is Terrance Howard talking about fucking physics on YouTube? Like, I'm so confused. So here are a few vocabulary terms that I wanted to just shoot past you real quick because the Oxford Dictionary of Physics lays it out a little bit better than I could. And the first term is harmonics. So I mentioned this earlier. Harmonics is basically an oscillation, so like when you like have a fan on and it like oscillates, it moves in a cycle or whatever it is, but in that cycle it's like a circle. Well, an oscillation, harmonics is the oscillation of a frequency, is the cycle of a frequency that is a simple multiple of fundamental sinusoidal oscillations. So it's like a bunch of like curvy waves of sound. That's how basically that's how sound, it describes how sound moves. It moves in a wavy cycle. The fundamental frequency of this sinusoidal oscillation is usually called the first harmonic. The second harmonic has a frequency twice that of the fundamental, and so on. A taut string or column of air, as in a violin or organ, will sound upper harmonics at the same time as the fundamental sounds. This is because the string or column of air divides itself into sections, each section when vibrating as if it were a whole. The upper harmonics are also called overtones, but the second harmonic is the first overtone, and so on. So musicians However, regard harmonic and overtone as synonyms, not counting the fundamental as a harmonic. So the way that sound moves is described as a harmonic. The second term that I didn't understand prior to talking about this is the magnetosphere. What the fuck is a magnetosphere? Well, the Oxford Dictionary of Physics describes a magnetosphere as a comet-shaped region surrounding the Earth and other magnetic planets in which the charged particles of the solar wind are controlled by the planet's magnetic field rather than the sun's magnetic field. It extends for some 60,000 kilometers on the side facing the sun, but on the opposite side it extends to a much greater extent. The boundary of the magnetosphere is also known as the magnetopause. The magnetosphere of the Earth includes the Van Allen belts. The detailed arrangements of magnetospheres are detailed in each magnetic planet. So, what creates a magnetosphere? Well, I'm glad you asked. It is called the magnetic dipole. The magnetic dipole are two equal and opposite charges that are separated by a distance. The dipole moment is the product of either charge and the distance between them. Some molecules behave as dipoles, and measurement of the dipole moments can often provide information regarding the configuration of the molecule. The second definition of magnetic dipole is an aerial commonly used for frequencies below 30 megahertz. It consists of a horizontal rod fed or tapped at its center. It may also be half a wavelength or a full wavelength long. The interaction of two systems, such as atoms or molecules, by their dipole moments. The energy of the dipole interaction depends on the relative orientation of the strength of the dipoles and how far they are apart. A water molecule has a permanent dipole moment, thus causing a dipole-dipole interaction if two water molecules are near each other. Although isolated atoms do not have permanent dipole moments, a dipole moment can be induced by the presence of another atom near it, thus leading to induced dipole-dipole interactions. Dipole-dipole interactions are responsible for the van der Waals forces and surface tension in liquids. So the only molecule that we know of with a magnetic dipole that is permanent is water. And if we're talking about magnetic dipoles as the cause of the magnetosphere of the Earth and other magnetic planets, there is a huge implication that jumps out at me that I want to share with you, because everything obviously is made from something, and it's just like kind of hard to understand all of this while the current understanding of the iron core and all of that stuff going on is overshadowing this newly presented information. I don't know if it's new or not, but it's newly presented. Basically, my understanding of what space is that it is a void and it is a vacuum. So therefore, nothing is out there. But when it comes to space, what is the dipole pushing against? Like, what, girl? Like, how are we creating a magnetosphere? What is it pushing against to create a magnetosphere? Where are the dipole interactions? What the fuck is going on? So these new journals of geophysics and shit are not really explaining how there are seemingly also no particles and no water and no magnetic dipoles in space when there are precisely particles and water and magnetic dipoles in space. Like, I'm really extra confused. What is going on? Why is Terrance Howard wading into physics to talk about this? Why is he talking about magnetic dipoles and dipole-dipole interactions in the same way that the Journal of Geophysical Research Space Physics published last year? But it also is the same information that the aliens were channeling about Nikola Tesla last year. You see how I got today's episode? Moving along, send me your thoughts. Host at centersun21.com. Thank you for listening. I am your host, Devon, and you're listening to Center of the Sun podcast. Traditional ideas about the magnetosphere and the dipole and all that kind of stuff, were some other kind of shape, some other kind of thing that I couldn't even find in this dictionary of physics. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to take that as the sign that it probably was not the right idea. And this is what scientists currently believe is the explanation of the formation of planets, is that there's some subsequent protection from solar winds because of the effect of the iron core. But what are solar winds? Okay, so let's just talk about that. What are solar winds? Well, solar winds are a continuous outward flow of charged particles, mostly protons and electrons, from the sun's corona into interplanetary space. So the particles are controlled. The particles that come out of the sun are controlled by the sun's magnetic field and are able to escape the sun's gravitational field because of their high thermal energy. The average velocity of the particles in the vicinity of the Earth is about 450 kilometers. I don't know what these units are, and their density is in some kind of range, billions and trillions times 10 protons per cubic meter. I don't even know what the fuck is going on, but it's big as fuck. And solar winds, they threaten our planet all the time. But the understanding of how we're being protected from them is matching up with Terrance Howard talking about how gravity is an effect, not a cause of planet formation. So in terms of planet formation, he's on YouTube talking about the way that the universe pushes on matter to make planets, as opposed to the gravity pulling particles somewhere to it. It's weird, but I have been doing some divination. That's all I can do. You do divination, you feel confident, you might feel crazy, but even Terrance Howard is excited for some reason. He's having Skype calls on YouTube. I look up what he's talking about. It seems to be relatively well researched, at least at the university that I work at. The stuff I find weird is actually becoming more mainstream. So, yay, Center of the Sun listeners. Even science is a social construction that can be dismantled and rebuilt at will. It's fun to think about how other beings live and other solar systems, how planets are formed or not formed, how we were formed or not formed. In the YouTube video that I'm talking about by Terrance Howard on this damn Skype call, he's talking about these new theories about how planets are formed, and he discusses all of this magnetosphere stuff, and it's really interesting how it matches the same science of, in 2014, there was a lot of research that started about the Large Particle Colliders in Europe and finding neutrinos and other particles that are faster than the speed of light, shaking up Albert Einstein's theories of how your reality was created. So I say, in this article about the magnetosphere, the main takeaway was that the cores of planets are not necessary for them to form like the ones we see in our solar system. So when observing other solar systems, they don't have big enough cores to make a planet, and there's some other forces at play. And that is the exciting thing about reality, is that it can, we have the ability to use each other and use each other's stories and oral traditions and videos and things to gain a new understanding outside of what we learned about in school. So send me your thoughts. host@centersun21.com. Does it feel weird to learn about something like this? If it does, why? Why does it feel so weird? What does it feel like? What specifically doesn't make sense? Send me your thoughts. host@centersun21.com, or you can follow me on Twitter @naturaldivon. You can spell Divon DVAUGHN.org. You can also visit my blog, so sign up for free, or you can make a gift. It is Christmas. Merry Christmas to the magnetosphere. Have a great day.